Are you just trying to live, laugh, or love? Or are you just trying to do all of the above? This is the podcast for you. Whether you're an aspiring comic, a headlining comic, a class clown, or just an average bro or doe looking for a good time, you, my friend, are in the right place. Welcome to the magical world of just trying to podcast. Here we go. Welcome, triers, doers, and everything in betweeners. Another live episode of Just Trying to Podcast with your host, Mike Tony Heath. What a wild day. I mean, straight bonkersvilles. Dude, the Congress had a hearing today about the UAPs. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about frolicking bank robberies. We're going to talk about comments. We're going to read some comments from last week's episode. We're going to talk about this new open mic that I started here in Seattle called Oddly Funny. Open mic for Oddly Funny Comedy. Follow us on the Instagram. I believe I would like to change the name. This is breaking news. I would like to change the name of Just Trying to Podcast to a different name. Because it is true. I am just trying to podcast. I'm just trying to live, laugh, and love. I'm trying to live well, laugh often, and love so much. That's just what I'm trying to do. However, I don't know. I feel like, man, JTP was a good way to start, just trying to podcast. But I want to capture the essence of what we're doing here. So I asked ChatGPT to come up with 30 different names, a couple different times, some different inputs into the AI. Alien Gang, we are out here. All right, so drum roll, please. When was the last time that you just frolicked? I was dropping my wife off at the gym earlier today, and I saw this human frolicking across the crosswalk, frolicking through the crosswalk. And it struck me because I couldn't remember the last time that I frolicked. I feel like growing up, I frolicked a lot. Like I was a big frolicker. And that got me thinking about stuff that just really I feel like I saw a lot of frolicking too. Like I grew up around a lot of frolickers. And maybe that's where I learned to frolic, and then I haven't been around as many frolickers. And I was like, dude, I got to get back into frolicking. And this started making me question, or really just wonder, where else are we not having things that we used to have? And it got me thinking about, we don't really hear about bank robberies anymore. Like, when was the last time you heard about a bank being robbed? Like, sure, they still make films about it and whatnot, but like a true, authentic, like real life bank robbery, it like just doesn't happen anymore. And I'm wondering what's going on. Like, why aren't we? Like, I'm not pro bank robbery. I'm just curious. Why is that not a thing anymore? Like, you used to always hear about it. I'm sure, like, dude, growing up, or, like people would live their lives, and it would be like be like a Thursday afternoon. And then, Charlie would come up to Ted and be like, yo, Ted, you got to pay me back. And then Ted would say to Charlie, like, I'm sorry, Holmes. Like, my bank got robbed on Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to pay you back for a while. I'm not sure how this is all going to shake out. Like, the bank got cleaned out. And then, like, what happened? Charlie just had to be like, well, what can you do? Your bank got robbed. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. Like, that's the convenience of modern life. But I'm curious, how did we get there? Was it e-monies? Was it the Dogecoin? Was it crypto? Was it Was it tap pay? Was it Whole Foods pay with your palm? What? Why aren't banks being robbed anymore? I'm for it. I'm pro no bank robberies. I'm just curious how we arrived here as a society. It's been a weird life, that we're all living collectively. It's kind of odd, one might say. Like, I think about a few weeks ago, my wife and I were on this date out in Capitol Hill, which is a wild place to begin with. So, that's some context. We're not walking through a normal place in America. We're walking through Capitol Hill, and we're at this crosswalk. Again, with the crosswalks, a lot of fun stuff happens at crosswalks, actually, now that I think about it. So we're staring down the barrel of this crosswalk, and across the way, there's a homie who looks like one of those, he just looks like he's from Seattle. He's got that Seattle way about him. But he's carrying a white 5-gallon bucket. And this is like prime being, Capitol Hill is this area that we're in, like, has a bunch of restaurants and bars. It's a very like nightlife-y. There's a lot of action, a lot of social life action, not a lot of like working action. Like, everyone's off the clock, And homie's over here, and he's carrying this 5-gallon bucket, which is just first odd. Like, why does he have this bucket? What's in that bucket? And we're walking across this crosswalk, and he locks eyes with me, and he says, "I just found a bucket of butterflies. Look at this bucket of butterflies I just found." And lo and behold, I look into the bucket, and it is a bucket of butterflies that he just found. Like, what an odd thing to stumble across, and then to have the courage, nay, the audacity to just pick up that bucket and take it. And like someone had found all of these butterflies. Like, maybe they're doing butterfly research, and you just find it okay to just take it. Like, this is mine now. But that's the world we live in, and that's pretty fun. I enjoy that kind of world that we live in, where if you find a bucket of butterflies, man, that's just yours now. More proof that we live in such an odd world. When I was back in high school, I won't name drop, but people would brand themselves. Like, they would have a piece of metal that said or had like some sort of emblem on it, and they'd heat it up in a fire, most likely at a bonfire, and then they would stick it on their skin as a brand. And that's with them for life. Like, if you brand a cow, I think that's kind of where it started, like horses or cows, like livestock or like animals. Cowboys would take a metal stick with a logo or something on the end. They put it in the fire, get it all hot, and they'd put it on the animal to show, like, this is my animal for life, dude. This is branded. It's like branding today, like marketing, right? Like, this is ours. Like, that's how you protect property, right? Is like the brand. That's how you know it's who it belongs to. And people would just brand each other in high school. Like, that's such a weird thing. I never got it. I never got a brand. Like, I also wasn't invited to get branded, though. So, I'm a human. I'm depraved. So I might have gotten branded. Like, under the right circumstances, I could have fell into that. And I just wasn't in that group. But I do a lot of weird stuff. Like, I was thinking about this one time. I don't think I ever really told this guy. I was living with this guy. I won't share his name, but let's just call him, I don't know, like Timothy. I was living with Timothy, and Timothy had just gotten home. I was upstairs making something in the kitchen, and I had like just this spark of an idea. I was like, dude, what if I just took this ketchup bottle? I think I was like making turkey burgers, and I was putting ketchup on them. I was like, what if I just took this this ketchup bottle and like I sprayed it on the floor, and I just kind of like sprawled out like something tragic happened, and it just like lay there motionless. So that's what I did. And I laid on the floor for probably like 17 minutes and 37 seconds, just motionless with ketchup on the floor, waiting for Timothy to walk up the stairs and see me. And like, he made a ton of movement, but he never made it up. So I just cleaned up my mess and went back to eating my turkey burgers. Like, we all do weird stuff. And I just want to know that you belong somewhere. You may not feel like you belong, but you belong somewhere. You know, we may not be sure where that is, but I can be sure that you do belong. Thank you so much for sending in comments, you know, whether, you know, on last week's episode or just even previous episodes. You know, keep commenting on those old ones. I'll get a notification. I'll go back through. I'll read it. I try to respond to a lot of them, especially the funny ones. I love those funny ones, man. So we had some comments. Dude, send in those voice memos. Check the link in the bio or in these the page for this show in the show notes. I want to play these voice memos. Like, you guys are funny, and you guys have things to say, maybe feedback, and especially this episode where we're going to ideate a potential new name for the show. Like, I would love just for you to send in a voice memo to let us know what you think. Comments. We're going to read some comments that you guys sent in from the last Seattle Comedy 206. This is on the Instagram. Seattle Comedy 206 says, I once owned a sane snapping turtle, but he was boring. Most exciting turtle in the game? Question mark. At turtle enigmatic. That's a tough word. I don't know if it's just been a long day or what, but so that's so you had a snapping turtle? Like, you owned a snapping turtle? Are you from Seattle? Do they even have snapping turtles in Seattle? We were talking about Turtle Man last week on the potty, and I dropped a reel about this like the largest acclaimed, you know, alligator snapping turtle, which came from Kansas, like 403 pounds, and he commented on that. So was it an alligator snapping turtle that you had? Like, I'm pretty sure you do not have a pet alligator snapping turtle. And I don't know who Turtle Enigmatic is. I feel like I got to swallow halfway through that username, and it feels weird. But, yeah, let me know. Let me know. And then, so Seattle Comedy, he was on a commenting spree, and he went back and commented on, I think it was episode 21, where we kind of talk about water redistribution. And I talked about how we are drinking too much water and how, like, our water usage has actually tilted the Earth's axis. And Seattle Comedy 206 says, milk is actually the most hydrating beverage for the human body. And I really do not think that is true. I do not think it is the most hydrating. Like, it might have been. Like, I think milk is kind of on its way out of our lives, you know, unless you're like a little baby and you get milk from your mother. But I think moderns, we're not really drinking milk because it was nutritious for us as children. And I think children, like, I've heard that it helps them grow strong bones, but I do not think it's the most hydrating beverage. I'm pretty sure that's still water. So Seattle Comedy 206, I would encourage you to get a water bottle and fill it with water and not milk, because I think that you are misinformed, my friend. It is water. Cute Puppy commented, I found a hatchling on a golf course. He's now my buddy. I believe this is a hatchling turtle. Was it a snapping turtle hatchling? You got to be careful. It's just like a young tiger. You know, when that big cat's a baby cat, it's a big baby cat. It's safe. It's gentle. It's cute. But when that baby big cat grows up to an adult big cat, a behemoth big cat, you got to watch out. They get dangerous, and that's what happens to snapping turtles. You know, it's a cute little turtle, but, man, it gets aggressive in old age like a lion. So be careful, cute puppy. You got to watch out for them. Thank you so much for sending your comments. Keep commenting. I love hearing your feedback. And be careful out there. You know, if you got a sane turtle, they may go crazy. If you got a hatchling, they're going to grow up. So be careful now. All right, let's get into this. All right, so the Congress of the United States had this hearing on yeah, man, what was the hearing even about? Like, let's pull up this. Here's my source is Yahoo News. So I'm really in the modern age. I'm getting my news from Yahoo. Yahoo! Dang, I hit that note, baby. There's this kid. I was like kind of a viral video my wife showed me. It's this kid for like this Finding Nemo. You may have seen this reel. I think it's almost got 1 million views, and there's only 330-ish million people in America, and almost 8 billion in the world. So I don't know what the odds are that you've seen it, but I feel like they're maybe likely. So it's this kid. He's like, "Oh man, how's it go? It's such a catchy tune, dude. It makes me want to fly wherever they're doing this musical. I think it's in a couple weekends. It's but I got something on the calendar that weekend, so I couldn't even do it. I'm gonna be hosting for KC Shorneem at Laughs Comedy Club. Buy your tickets if you haven't already. Little promo. All right, so that song, it goes something like, "Oh, where's my dad? I'm all alone. I'm too small to be here on my own." And this kid, dude, I am not doing it justice. That kid has got some pipes on him. And it's impressive, dude. I wish I could sing. There's like a talent, you know, we all have that we wish, or that we don't have that we wish we could do it. I wish I could sing, dude. I wish I had some pipes on me. I would be singing, dude. I like to sing when I'm on my bike, just going for a bike ride. I'll be singing and just passing people because they ain't going to see me. They barely even heard me, but I like the freedom. Okay, so Congress held a hearing about UFOs today. That's why I'm even doing this live stream, man. I got to get the word out on this ASAP. So Congress held a hearing about UFOs, or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And Yahoo News said there were some terrifying, genuinely out there claims made. Okay, so for this hearing went on for over 2 hours, and Congress questioned not one, not two, but 3 people about their knowledge of UAPs. The people questioned were a former intelligence official named David Grush, a former Navy commander named David Fravor. I swear, if this third one's a David, I'm going to freak out. And a former Navy pilot named Ryan Graves. Well, they can't all. 2 out of 3 are Davids, though. There might be something to that. Here's a Cliff Notes version of the hearing. Number 1. David Grush said the U.S. has been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s. This is what this David guy is saying, man. David Grush tells that U.S. government has known about non-human intelligence in relation to UFOs, or UAPs, since the 1930s. Grush says he provided the names and locations of U.S. UFO crash retrieval programs to the intelligence committees. All right, so since the 1930s, this means America, the United States of America, has known about aliens for almost 100 years. So can you think about it? We are, like, you know that new Marvel show, Secret Invasion? There's a good chance that, dude, we have Skrulls living among us. That there's a good chance that Skrulls, or whatever we call these extraterrestrials, have infiltrated the highest government officials, Do we really know Joe Biden's not a Skrull? Or that Donald Trump wasn't a Skrull? Do we know that the news correspondents, the people who own, maybe Elon Musk is a Skrull type of man? We got to be concerned, guys. If we've known about non-human activity for almost 100 years, what does that mean? Are they living among us? Grush also said that the U.S. government is in possession of non-human biologics from UFO crash sites. Former U.S. intelligence official David Grush alleges that the government is in possession of non-human bodies. Shut up! Grab the wall! Grab the radio! Grab the soup out of the kitchen. We are going into a bunker. What is going on? Holy cow. All right, here's a quote. As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. When pressed on whether they were human or non-human biologics, he said non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program. All right, let me read that one more time. Non-human. And that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge. And I believe when he's saying that, he's saying like they were involved in the program. I talked to that are still currently on the program. Dude, David Grush is slinging some mad accusations, mad claims. Furthermore, Grush also says that he absolutely believes the U.S. government is in possession of UAPs after he personally interviewed 40 witnesses over 4 years. Republican Robert Garcia, representative. That's funny. He's actually a Democrat. Dude, but join the third party, the Muleteers, baby. Do you believe, this is from Robert Garcia of California, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs? Former Air Force intelligence officer David Grush, absolutely. Based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years, I know the exact locations. This is a direct quote from the hearing. He knows the exact locations. Dude, I'm going to get David Grush on the podcast next week. I need to know the pinpoints. Let's fly out there, man. Let's carpool our money together. Let's pool our money together. All right. So here's this is, again, we're going through Yahoo News. This is the best source of knowledge on this. Grush also said that he knows the exact locations of these aforementioned UAPs. I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General and some of which to the Intelligence Committee. So not just David Grush. So he is saying, hey, it's not just I who know, or the 40, I guess like the 40 people, they probably don't know every location, but he supposedly knows. So it's the Inspector General. Who is the Inspector General? That's something I don't feel like I learned in U.S. history. Number 5, Navy pilot Ryan Graves said he would see objects completely stationary in hurricane force winds. These objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds. All right, so Frankie, look up the stats on how fast a hurricane is. How fast hurricane winds are. All right, Frankie's pulling it up. All right, so if you have a Category 3 hurricane, that means winds are between 111 and 129 miles per hour. Thanks, Frankie. So what Navy pilot Ryan Graves is saying is that he would see objects completely still with winds maybe around 129 miles per hour in a hurricane, and it's just standing still, and then go to supersonic speeds. Straight up like Sonic the Hedgehog out here. Okay, so I think what's really interesting is, okay, so we could say, you could read that headline, and then you could say, well, that's just a government, whether ours or another government, that has technology that we just don't know about, so it's like they're beyond. But then that in context of David Grush's testimony about these non-human biologics being extraterrestrial. I think when he's saying non-human biologics, biologics, is that he is saying that it's not like it's like post-human or maybe not even post-human, but like yeah, I guess like non-human is probably the best way to say it, but like non-Earth, you know. All right, so here's what Ryan Graves he told Congress we would see these objects being at 0.0 Mach. That's 0 airspeed. Okay, staying still. These objects were staying completely stationary in Category 4 winds. So Category 4 winds are up to 156 miles per hour, so even more intense than we thought. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.2 Mach, and then they would do so in a very erratic and quick behaviors that I do not have an explanation for. That's coming from a fighter pilot, man. You know, he may not have been a part of Top Gun, but this guy flies planes for our government. And lastly, this is the last part of the footnotes of this. And lastly, Graves said he believes only 5% of UAP sightings. Oh, wait, hold on. And only, okay, so, all right, number 6. All right, we got it, baby. And lastly, Graves said he believes only 5% of UAP sightings are reported by U.S. pilots, suggesting 95% of sightings go unreported. How do we not get more evidence for this, like, right now? Like, Biden, come out, let us know. Where is this stuff? Like, how much longer? You know, just, like, does he know about it? Like they always said about the balloons that were flying over America, that they kept that from Trump. Like it was happening, but they just didn't tell Trump. It's like, do they tell Trump about the aliens? Like, I feel like if they told Trump about the aliens, we would have known. And then, like, maybe for Biden, like, they would have told him too. We just got to get that out there, man. We got to know. We got to know. Dude, I've had a fun week in comedy. So, like, a week ago today, all right, let's mark this up. I've had a fun week in comedy. A week ago today, I was down in Gig Harbor, which is like southwest of Seattle. I was down there at Wacky Wednesdays at like the halftime saloon. It was like an open mic, and I was the headliner there. So I did 40 minutes of comedy. That was by far the longest I've ever done comedy consecutively, like a continuous set, like been on stage. But prior to that, I think I did like 25 minutes here at an open mic in Seattle. So I didn't like double that, but I got close to doubling it. I'm doing 40 minutes. Like, I was surprised. Like, I still had some jokes to go through. Now, I won't say, like, it wasn't, like, a really clean 40 minutes at all. Like, there was definitely, like a good, solid 10 to 15 that was, like, much more tight. And then the other 25, which was, like, just stuff that I haven't fleshed out as much, but I still think like I got laughs, you know. You got to start somewhere, and I think that was like my first time headlining anywhere. Like even though it was an open mic, like just doing 40 minutes of comedy is like really like gives you perspective on how like hard it is to have that much material that's just punchy. Like that's a long time to just be saying punchlines. If you're trying to do a punchline, you're trying to get a laugh every 7 to 10 seconds, like has a lot of jokes in there. But there was this time where, so there was this group of people. It was one girl and like 4 dudes, and they left the bar. And I was like saying, all right, good night, y'all. See y'all later. Just addressing that there was kind of this exodus of like 15 people, 4 people left. So it was like, you could really feel it, And they ended up coming back. They were just going to take a smoke break or whatever. But And then one of the people in the bar said, like, it's one of those Gig Harbor wives. So I don't know if this is true. So if you're from Gig Harbor and you can corroborate this testimony, but what this audience member was telling me was that, you know how in like Mormonism, like there would be polygamy, there'd be like one man with like multiple wives. All right, so what's going on is like Mormonism had like, I don't even know if they still do polygamy. I don't know if that's even legal. Is it legal in certain places and just not practice, or is it illegal all places? I don't know. Drop in the comments. Let me know. I actually don't know that information. Anyways, that's irrelevant. So, you know, polygamy, one man, multiple wives. What's happening in Gig Harbor? And I would love to hear some corroborating evidence or testimony on this. Is that they say they have these Gig Harbor wives where it'll be one woman. And like she won't necessarily be married to like a bunch of guys, but like it's kind of reversed. It's like reverse Mormonism, where one girl will have like multiple guys. And I don't know if he was saying like in a way of like a marital relationship or like a lover relationship, or if just like a friendship, like a significant friendship. So that's going on. You know, I don't know. I didn't know about it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he's just making a joke or if that's a real thing that's happening specifically in Gig Harbor, Washington. So if you're there, let us know. Is reverse Mormonism, the Gig Harbor wife, a real thing? Pleasant Town, though, I ate Jimmy John's Freaky Fast, and it was fun. They have like this new wrap out this summer. I think it's maybe like a seasonal thing. It's like a spicy chicken wrap. And I felt like it was a nice little meal, you know, before. I just tried to eat it. I was like so hungry, but I also had like the nerves, you know, of just trying to do 40 minutes of comedy. Had a ton of fun, though. I'm really excited about the opportunity of trying to do 40 minutes, you know, 30, 40 minutes again. I don't know when I'll get that opportunity in front of a crowd, you know. I have this bad habit of like I'll start a sentence and it feels like I'm going somewhere, and I'll just throw down I'll throw down the axe and just stop it right there. It's like all this momentum, and then like it's like a period, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? So that's a bad habit of mine. I'll just be dropping off sentences mid-sentence. And all right, so I started this open mic in Seattle, just up the street here in the Roosevelt neighborhood of Seattle. It happens Sunday night at 7 p.m. Get the word out. Invite your friends. It's like a combination of the show Kill Tony, which is the acclaimed #1 live podcast in the world. So what happens with Kill Tony? I think it's happening at the Comedy Mothership every week now. Every Monday night, they have a live show where they'll have Tony Hinchcliffe and other comedians. I think even Brian Redband's on it like every week, I think. And they'll have like drop-in guest comedians, and they'll sit at a table, and they'll have somebody do a minute of comedy, and then they'll kind of like roast them or give feedback. And then a couple months ago, a local comedian, you've probably heard of him, the skateboarder comedian. He might be, I don't know, he's not a retired skateboarder. He's a active skateboarder and active comedian, Taylor Clark. Very funny guy. He did this show called Kind Taylor. Same premise, but with it was like to be nice. And I love that experience. I don't know if it's still happening, but if it is, you know, look him up, Kind Taylor, or Taylor Clark, Kind Taylor show. It happened last time down at the Hereafter in downtown Seattle. It was a really fun show. Like, if it's happening, I can't recommend it enough. Go to it. It's totally worth your time. He's a very funny guy. He gets some big comedians on there, big local comedians at least, and maybe more. I don't know. Maybe he's growing that thing. But so that was my idea to have, but it was like this thing where there's not any that I know of. I could prove me wrong. There's not a place for clean comedy specifically here in the city of Seattle. And I think that's like a unique market. Like you look at Dry Bar Comedy, you know, it's like just clean comedy. Like that's all they do. And they've proven that there's like a market for that, you know, and Dry Bar will have unclean comedians, but they'll just do like a clean special, like a hour special, just clean. Which clean, if you're not familiar with comedy, like there's dirty comedy, clean comedy. Maybe that's like the two distinctions we'll do. And dirty would be like quote unquote inappropriate culturally, like there's swear words in it. It's going to be kind of upper PG-13 to R rated, right? Whereas clean comedy is going to be like lower PG-13 to like PG. That's a clean comedy. So there's nowhere that I know of in Seattle that's just doing that. So I was like, man, is there like an opportunity here where like no one's doing this, so like let's do something here? Or is it like, people have tried to do it and it just doesn't, where we're just not about it here? So I don't know. So I was like, let me try something. And I think like often like you'll like watch a clean comedian and be like, oh, that's oddly funny. Like it's funny, but like it's kind of odd. Like I didn't expect that to be funny. Because it's not like really like this like shocking like raunchy thing or like really surprising like sexual content even. But there's just like it's this odd sense of humor in it. Whatever it be, a story or just like a one-liner joke. Like I think about comedians like Dusty Slay, is like most of his stuff is clean. Even like Gary Goldman has a lot of clean content. Like Jim Gaffigan, like one of the most prolific comedians. Like he's pretty clean. And then Nate Bargatze, obviously, like he's popping off right now ever since the pandemic, and he's a strictly clean comic. So like all these people, like the people Americans like dirty and they like clean comedy. So I just like, man, that's oddly funny. Like, let's do that. Like, let's do an open mic. Let's just try it for a month. And let's kind of do it in the format of Kill Tony, Kind Taylor. But let's just call it oddly funny. Because I am not famous. I don't want to name anything after me. Like, that's not like Taylor and Tony for sure. Even though I'm Mike Tony. All right. And it's kind of like, in this like vein of, I like to be a little weird. I like to be a little offbeat. I got these stickers. Here, that say, I made these stickers that says, keep Mike Tony Heath weird. If you see me out in the wild, I'll sell you one of these stickers for $1. That's something my friend Kristen Hempkin said to me once. She said, like, keep Mike weird. And then I kind of put like my own little branding on it. Speaking of branding, I kept Mike Tony Heath weird. And I like to be weird. I like to stay weird. The sign off of this show every week is stay funny and stay weird. So like that's kind of like, something odd, something a little peculiar, something a little weird is kind of my vibe. Right, so that's kind of like in this world that I try to live in, a little weird, like a little bucket of butterflies action. Been doing this, and it's like a clean comedy competition. It's kind of like a game show vibe. And so the best joke of the night wins a Snickers bar, a Snickers candy bar. And the host, I hope to grow it where it's like I'm not just the only host, but I have other people hosting with me. But we don't roast the comedians. If we do, it'd be in like a fun, playful way. We want to provide some hopefully helpful and encouraging feedback. Like the first time we had it was like this last Sunday, the 23rd of July, and we had somebody who did comedy for the first time ever there at Oddly Funny, which I love. Like they're gonna share. If they never do comedy again, they're gonna be like, I did comedy once, and it was at this place called Oddly Funny. Like, that's so cool. Or, they're going to go on and do comedy for their life. And they're going to be like, yeah, I started at Oddly Funny Comedy. Like, I love that. So if you're first time out, like, come out. Like, I hope it was helpful to her. She won the best joke of the week. You can check it out on the Instagram at Oddly Funny Comedy. I know, another Instagram that I manage. Like, I didn't have enough already. And my dream is for it to be live streamed on the YouTubes. Maybe even Twitch. I don't know if we could work that out with get it on Twitch and maybe even Facebook and YouTube. Like, we'll do it all. We'll be everywhere. And so that's the dream. And I like it to be like a little bit of like a game show vibe. Like if you say something naughty, like maybe that's like one strike. But if it's like a really naughty piece, like maybe you just get like booted and you get to come back up and try again. I kind of like that playful spirit, but I'm really excited about it. I hope it's something funny, I hope people would say, Mike is oddly funny, this is oddly funny. That's kind of like this, maybe kind of my persona. I would love, if someone interacts with me to say like, wow, like I really felt like loved by this guy, like I felt like known by him. I felt like, Mike really cared about me. And, he's kind of oddly funny too. Now that's kind of what I want on my, my tombstone. He loved God, he loved his wife, he loved others, and he was oddly funny. That's kind of what I like to do, and so, yeah, kind of to come back to the name of this podcast. Just trying to podcast. I came up with that idea. I was sleeping on the floor at my friend's house in Ellensburg, Washington, and I had been thinking about starting this podcast for a while, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, you have your best ideas like when you're in the shower, on a run, or when you're falling asleep. Basically, anywhere where you can't write it down, I feel like you have your best ideas. At least that's how it is for me. I was falling asleep, and the idea came to me. Is like, well, I'm just trying to podcast. Like, that's all I don't know what the podcast is going to be about, because it's probably going to be about me starting to do stand-up comedy, but I don't really know anything more than that. It's like, I'm just trying to start a podcast. Like, I was like, well, what else am I just trying to do? I'm just trying to live, laugh, and love. I'm just trying to do comedy on this side. I'm just trying to enjoy life to the fullest. I'm just trying to obey God, just trying to love my wife. There's all these things that I'm just trying to do. Like, I'm not necessarily doing them the best or even the best I can yet. So I was like, oh, it's a kind of a fun play on words, just trying to podcast, but also just trying to do a lot of stuff. Then I tried to just, keep the title, and every episode was just trying to, keep Portland weird, just trying to talent stack, just trying to save Earth. These are kind of like I just try to work it in, but then I'd interview people. I'd be like, Charles Hall Jr., and like, I'm just trying to interview Charles Hall Jr. I was like, that's not a good episode title at all. So I just called it Charles Hall Jr. And then the further we got in, so this is episode 26. So we've done 25 weeks? Nah, because there were some weeks that I didn't release episodes, so I don't think I've released 2 a week, except for maybe like one-offs, but so let's just say we're about half a year into this thing. And I think really what it's become, it's definitely still about like kind of chronicling my comedy journey, but also interviewing comedians and or funny people, or just kind of talking about, what's going on in the world. And I like things, like a bucket of butterfly. What's something weird that's kind of happened to you? This Keep My Tony Heath Weird, oddly funny comedy. So I've been kind of pressing into this idea of being weird. And, I even got these shirts, Octo Bearbat, where do you think rainbows come from? You can buy them online at MikeTonyHeath.com. Again, another just weird thing, dude. Just so odd, just oddly funny. And so I had ChatGPT rep out like 30-ish names of different ideas, different titles for the podcast, and I kind of plugged in some ideas of like elements I wanted incorporated in there. There's a list. We got Oddcast. Oddcast, it's one word, it's kind of like odd, so it has that word in it. So Weirdcast doesn't really sound that good. Oddcast kind of sounds better. I like the idea of Chronicles though, but when I put this by someone who does like podcast consulting, I guess you could say. He wrote the book Big Podcast, David Hooper. I think it's Hooper, David Hooper, Big Podcast. I floated the idea to him, and he said it's kind of sounds like you're kind of doing like, it's like a history podcast, like a history of comedy podcast, which really isn't what I'm doing. So that doesn't quite work. But I still like it, like the Chronicles of Narnia, the Chronic What Calls a Comedy. I think that's kind of funny. So then a strangely funny oddcast is another idea. A strange oddcast or an odd odyssey. And I kind of like the Odyssey idea is kind of like more present tense, like this journey, which is truly this journey of comedy, which I think maybe incorporates, interviewing other comedians. So what about the Odyssey Oddcast? Odyssey Oddcast? What do you think? The Oddisphere, like kind of like I don't know, like not like the hemisphere, because we live in a hemisphere, but like kind of like this world, it's like a weird world, like the Oddisphere. I kind of like that idea, or like the Oddiverse, kind of like like this is like the universe of Odd, or like it's just like a weird universe we live in. There might be UAPs. There's non-human biologics here, here in the Oddisphere. Oh, non-human biologics in the Oddisphere. Oddiverse. I can't even say it. I gotta nail that down. Okay, so those are the first 9 ideas that ChatGPT and I came up with. Somebody's dropping in the comments here of the live stream. They say, I like an odd odyssey. AOO. Or double O. We just call it like a double O. 007. The odd odyssey. I don't like the word the in it or the in it. That's a good point though. I do. So looks like we got 1 vote for odd odyssey. Number 10, strangely oddcast, weirdly oddcast. Oh, that kind of sounds like you're like a weird oddcast. Kind of sounds like you're like a weird outcast, which is probably like how we all kind of feel in life. Like we all kind of feel like the black sheep at one point or another. Like unless you're Tom Brady. But to be fair, though, like Tom Brady probably when he got drafted in the NFL, he probably felt like he was kind of underrated. He was kind of just on the side. Michael Jordan even. Adidas didn't want to sign him or something like that, or they weren't giving a good deal. But Nike slipped him the good deal. So maybe Mike, be like Mike, felt at some points like he was a weird outcast. I'm going to change that. Not weirdly outcast, but or the other option of that is weird oddcast for all the oddly outcasted. Oh, that kind of sounds like we're bringing the lost sheep in, huh? Mike's Oddcast. Again, that's putting my name on it, which I don't really love. Now, here we go. Number 13. Lucky number 13 is one of my favorite ideas. This wasn't a ChatGPT. This is a Mike original here. So this one, it was definitely inspired from ChatGPT. So let's hear it. Drum roll, please. Oddie potty. So like the odd of oddly, you put, and then like the pod of podcast. So potty, I like to say the word, like check out my potty. And it's like, not like my party, but like my podcast, my potty. So then the oddie potty. I like how that sounds. And then we got the oddly funny podcast. What I don't like about that, even though I love the sound of that, we already got oddly funny comedy. And I don't really want to, I want to be differentiated from oddly funny, but I want to maybe like do like some subtle nods. So like this I don't even think is grammatically correct. Number 15 is humorously oddcast. Doesn't even, as I say it out loud, not good. Now number 16 is good though. Oddly strange. That's kind of like a lot of weird just packed into 2 words. It's just like a little weird sandwich action, Oddly, you're already thinking like, what's going on? And then you're like strange, and then you mush it together, and it's just like an explosion of weirdness. Oddly strange podcast. We call it the OS. Oh, the operating system. Now, I think I'm bolding number 16, oddly strange. I'm bolding Oddie Potty. That's another bold one. What dropped in the comments, they said an Odd Odyssey. So that's a fan vote right there. Fan vote for number 6, Odd Odyssey. Oh, the Odyssey Oddcast. That's another one of my favorites. That's number 7. Okay, number 17. This is a good one. Strangeland. Now, this is a subtle nod to one of my favorite podcasts, Nateland. The Nateland podcast. If you haven't heard it, there's 4 hilarious comedians. 2 of my Mount Rushmore comedians, my personal Mount Rushmore, Dusty Slade, Nate Bargatze, are on the show. It's Nate Bargatze's podcast. I would say Nate Bargatze I think he was the first comedian I ever went to go see and paid to go see. Yeah, at the KC Improv. And the first time I saw Dusty Slay live was at the KC Improv. I think in a perfect world, one of my goals in comedy is, if I keep with it, which I think I will, at some point in the journey, I would like to record I would say this. I don't know if it has to be my first, really, but like, I want to record a comedy special in Kansas City, in Missouri. So like an hour long of comedy. Now I think that would take, my guesstimate is like, that's something you do year 5, year 6, year 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I'm so far. I'm not even a year in. That's so far away, but that would be a dream. And to do it at the KC Improv, if it's still around, like that'd be a really fun, like kind of full circle moment. But so Strangeland, again, to come back to, this is number 17. I got 33 of these. So buckle up for the ride, buddy. Strangeland. Strangeland, I like that because it still kind of has that weird flair to it, but it's a different word than odd and weird. So it's kind of its own thing, like a Keep My Tony Heath Weird, the Strangeland podcast. This might be my favorite one, Strangeland. Now I think that was a ChatGPT idea. Number 18, A Funny Oddcast. Solid. I like that, again, incorporating in podcast, but it's an oddcast. I like that. The Oddly Funosphere. No, thank you. Oddfest. Oddfest, I'm kind of about that. That's a fun one. Like there's kind of like a fest. So Frankie, look up the definition of the word fest. So this is from Merriam-Webster. I think they're like the leading dictionaries. They say a fest is a gathering, event, or show having a specified focus, often used in combination with something else. So the fest, the show or event, is about odd fest. That's another, I'm going to give that one a plus sign and bold it. Number 21 is Outer Limits Oddcast. Gigglesphere. No, thank you. Odyssey Oddcast. Wait, I think we already, that was number 7. How did that one sneak in? That was number 23. Take that, Michael Jordan. You're off the list. Off the Wall Comedy. Or I like the idea, let's do that. This would be like the new number 24. So that's number 23, Off the Wall, and that's it. I can get behind that, Off the Wall. It's a little bit off the wall, What's something a little bit off the wall? Like, what's an idea you have that's off the wall? I kind of dig that. Number 25, maybe the worst suggestion ever that ChatGPT has ever said, Whimsical Mike Chronicles. I don't even know why I wasted my breath saying it. It's a horrible name. Number 26, The Laugh Odyssey. The journey of the laugh is kind of what that's saying. I think if I was going to go the Odyssey route, I would cut out the Laugh Odyssey. It doesn't, Odyssey of Laughs, maybe? Would that sound better if you put like an Odyssey of Laughs? So they're dropping in the chat. They said, who is that? What's that name? Oh, William Montgomery William Montgomery says Odyssey of Laughs is more grammatically, or it sounds nice. It sounds better grammatic. William Montgomery says grammatically incorrect sounds better grammar-wise with Odyssey of Laughs. Okay, a journey of laughs, I guess is what. If you're going to take out the, I guess is what he's saying. Okay, so number 27 goes back to the oddly funny Odyssey. I like that better than Laugh Odyssey. Number 28, if you cut out the word the, I think, let me do that right now. So number 28, Oddball Humor Lounge. What about Oddball Lounge? What about Oddball Lounge? We like that. Oddball Lounge. I like oddball, like that. Just the word oddballs. Oddballs. Oddball Lounge. Okay. Number 29, Mike's Giggletopia. No, I was wrong. Number 30 is the worst suggestion that that ChatGPT had for me. Curious Laughs with Mike. That sucks, ChatGPT. Number 31, Mike-tastic Giggle Fest. that might be worse. You are going down, dude. Chuckle Fest is number 32. I kind of like Chuckle Fest. I like the idea of the word fest being incorporated into this. I like that's a fun word, fest. And chuckle, like you have a good chuckle. I like to leave people chuckling. In my current bio, I say, Mike will leave you chuckling with his offbeat Midwestern viewpoint. So I kind of like that, like Chuckle Fest. Ooh, Chuckle Fest. I think that's kind of growing on me. I'm going to bold that, and I'm going to give that a plus sign. And then number 33, Oddly Funosphere. No, that ain't it. That ain't number 33. So our front runners for now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post the ones that we liked. So drop in the comment if there's any ones that I missed that you liked. Drop those in there. So I'm gonna do like a poll of sorts. Now I don't want to rush this because I want to do it right. I don't want to be one of those podcasts that rebrands every 25 episodes, but I feel like having passed the 25 episode threshold, I don't want to get to 50 without changing this thing. So definitely going to happen before, if it happens, it will happen before episode 50. So here are the top 7. I think I got this right. Here are the top 7 names from the list of, I condensed the list of 100 names from ChatGPT and kind of what I already was thinking down to 33. And these are the 7 remaining of the 100 ideas. The last 7, the successful 7, the severely 7, saintly 7. Number 1, Chuckle. There's in no particular order. Chuckle Fest, Oddly Strange, Strange Land, Oddie Potty, Odyssey Oddcast, an Odd Odyssey, or just Oddcast. Those are the 7 best ideas we have right now. If you have more, send in a voice memo again. I want to hear them. Drop a comment on this episode of which one you like, or check the link in the show notes, or even the link in our Instagram bio at Just Trying to Podcast. Oh, and okay, so we're going to do 8. Oh, the crazy 8. The crazy 8. We'll do the crazy 8. So the last one is Off the Wall. I did forget that. Oh, and then Oddfest. Oh, no, we have 9. Now we got to do 10. All right, so we got Off the Wall. I totally missed these guys. All right, so we got, let me do it one more time. Oh, comedy, Chronicles of Comedy. Yeah, let's put that one in there. That's 10. There we go. That sounds way better than Saintly 7 or Crazy 8. The top 10 names from the original 100 names that I ideated with ChatGPT. It's down to these 10. Vote today. You can be a part of history of the rebranding of Just Trying to Podcast. A few more words for you guys before we wrap up today. if you haven't already, if you missed it, on August 4th and 5th, I will be at Laughs Comedy Club hosting for Casey Shornima. Buy tickets today, folks, for that show if you're here in Seattle. If you are in the Tri-Cities area of Eastern Washington, I'll be there the next weekend hosting for Skip Clark at Joker's Comedy Club in, I think, Kennewick or Richland. I think it's in Richland, Washington, in the Tri-Cities area. Get your tickets for that, folks. I'd love to see you there. Hit me up. Come out to the show, triers, doers, and in-betweeners. Last week I talked about my music video, Bubble Boy, which I always think I can get more done than I can really get done. I like to start things. I have a tough time finishing things. So I've started that project. I thought I would finish it last weekend on Friday, and I did not. And I thought I'd finish it by Sunday, and I did not. And I thought I'd finish it by Monday of this week, and I did not. We are now halfway through the week as I'm going live here on YouTube, and it's still not out. So that'll be coming soon. Be on the lookout for Bubble Boy. It'll be probably the song of our generation, I would say. So I don't want to set the expectations too high, but definitely of our generation. And thank you so much for being a part of the journey. Again, send in your voice memo. Let us know what name do you love the most. And as always, my friends, stay funny and stay weird. Peace.
Great shot!